guys? It's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. A handful of news brought to you in one easy-to-watch video. As far as today's news stories do go, our top story has to do with who's really in charge of WWE. Is it Triple H? Is Triple H running creative? We're going to talk about some news on the top-tier guys on Monday Night Raw and Smackdown, as far as Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Brock Lesnar. We're going to give you an update on Shane McMahon's torn quad injury. John Cena is producing a new show for WWE. We got some AEW news and so much more, because, again, this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. Every Monday and Friday morning, roughly between 11 and 11:30 a.m. Pacific, we bring you all the latest news in professional wrestling. With that, you can watch the show a myriad of different ways, whether that's live or later. You can watch it live on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or you can watch it live on YouTube, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or later on YouTube. You can also listen later on podcast services all around the globe, like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and it always gives you one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to head over to YouTube and become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access podcast episodes, early access non-news videos, and so much more. Also, remember to head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming the free games or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys, or Rumbleverse, use this code right here, PW Unlimited, at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Again, that is code PWU NLIMITED for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. Whether you're buying a new game like Crime Boss Rocket City, I don't know, Crime Boss Rocket City, The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, claiming one of the free games, or trying to get in that new season of Fortnite with the Battle Pass. Again, use this code right here. Only takes you a couple seconds to type it in, and you're good to go. Amaturos said, I won't be here to watch. I'll be going to the movie theater to watch the Mario movie. Well, I've seen it 3 times. Once in theaters and twice at home. I don't know why I did it like that. Once in theaters and twice at home. Really fun movie. Story, my quick review on the Mario movie. Nostalgia everywhere. Very fun movie, but the story kind of lacks in development, I guess you could say. Because there's a few things that's like, oh, why did they do it like that? Why didn't they do it like that? Like, there's a big plot in this movie that they should have twisted and done it just a slight different way, and the entire story would have actually made more sense and been better. But because of one little thing that they do, it just, kills it for me. But that's my quick and dirty. Not going to give any spoilers. Other thing, there's a scene in this movie that I swear to God, I don't know if it's true, but I swear Jack Black had to have written this scene. I'm just saying. Krill says, how'd you watch it at home? I got ways. I bootleg. It's called bootlegging. It's called jailbreaking your Amazon Fire Stick and having the right apps on there. But as far as the wrestling news does go, because unfortunately, there's no wrestling tie-in with the Mario movie that I know of. Unlike there's going to be a wrestling tie-in with the Barbie movie, because John Cena apparently has a role in that movie. But regardless, either way, let's get going. So, coming out of WrestleMania, and let's start Saturday. That show, great, spectacular. Oh my God, everybody loved night 1 of WrestleMania. Then we go into night 2 of WrestleMania, and people really, really liked it, but not as much as night 1. People were like, this fell flat. Asuka didn't win, and Cody didn't win, and this and that. And well, we'll get into that as far as Cody goes. Don't know the whole plans for Bianca and why she beat Asuka and this and that, but we come out of night 2, and going into night 2, actually, we start getting word that, hey, tomorrow we're probably getting an announcement that WWE is going to be bought by Endeavor or merged in with Endeavor and UFC and this and that, and whoa. So then Monday morning comes, and that announcement gets made by Area Manuel and Vince McMahon. And I want to try to explain this the best I can because I was very confused by this. If you go watch the Fightful video with Sean Ross Sapp and Jimmy Van. Jimmy Van does a great, fantastic job kind of explaining what went down and how this is more of a merger and not an actual sale. Because WWE did not technically sell to Endeavor. Area Manuel sweet-talked Vince into basically giving him his company, which, goddamn, Area Manuel. So this is not a sale because no actual money is changing hands as far as Endeavor paying WWE for the company. WWE is just becoming a company under Endeavor, merging-ish, kind of, with UFC, which it's still not a full technical merger. Kind of merging-ish with the UFC to create one new publicly traded company. Anyways, go watch the video Fightful did Monday morning with Sean and Jimmy. Jimmy does, again, a great job explaining exactly what this is and that it's not an actual sale. Hence why on Monday, the WWE stock dipped a little bit. Anyways, so we get that news. Then we go into Monday Night Raw, and we start hearing things before Raw. Triple H is going to be on the show. It's being reported Triple H is going to kick off the show. Then 10 minutes or 7 minutes or so before Raw goes on the air on USA Network, like they always do, they go, coming up at the top of the hour is Monday Night Raw. A lot of things happened after WrestleMania. We're going to have the fallout of that. And also, WWE COO or CCO or whatever Triple H is created, Chief CCO, will be kicking off tonight's Raw. And they didn't say anything else about that. So then we finally get the confirmation Triple H will kick off Raw. So Raw opens, Triple H comes out, and he gives his Raw speech. He's like, yeah, WrestleMania was great. WrestleMania was amazing. Now we're being talked about for other things, but I want to assure you, we're not going anywhere. We're still going to be the same WWE that you love. And then he pisses off the fans by immediately saying, you know, this is WWE. We are WWE, da-da-da-da-da, and welcome Roman Reigns. And crowd loses their shit. Anyways. Roman comes out, does his thing with Cody, the Brock stuff. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And the show itself, it's like, holy crap, this show sucked. This was a Vince ran show for sure, just by watching. And then we get the word that no, Vince was in Gorilla. Vince was running the show. Vince was tearing stuff up and rewriting scripts. And so we go, ugh. And so the big concern all week is Vince running Smackdown this week? Is Vince back 100% in charge? What is going on with Vince McMahon? Is Vince going to be traveling all over the country again, sitting in Gorilla, running the show? Triple H on Monday was trying to tell people in a talent meeting, no, I still got final say. No matter what happens, going forward, I'm running creative. And as far as tonight goes, because the big thing is, if Vince flies back across the country to Portland, Oregon, yeah, he's back in charge running creative every week. Now, can he run creative from home? Can he run creative from his office remotely? True. Yes, he can. But according to a newer report from Fightful, they do write the following. Higher-ups that we spoke to Thursday believed and hoped that SmackDown would return to the version of the show we saw since Triple H took over. Triple H is set to address the WWE Universe on Friday's episode of SmackDown, with several other big things announced. So the hope and the belief, possibly, is that it was just a one-night thing. That it was just Vince was in town, so Vince ran his power up and said, I'm going to run tonight's show. I'm going to mess a bunch of stuff up. I mean, because of it, Candice LeRae and Piper Niven didn't work Raw after being told, you're working Raw. Bayley was pulled from the show, which that's a whole other thing. There's now a report going out, and I don't know how credible this is, but there's now a new report going out saying that the reason Bayley wasn't used on the show is because they got big plans for Bayley, and they didn't want Bayley to be out there with, quote unquote, a losing team. So maybe Bayley's going to be next in line for Bianca? I don't know. The rumor is they got big plans for Bayley. I don't know exactly where that rumor came from, so that's why I haven't reported it. But I saw like McMahon brought it up this morning as well with Andrew Zarian, that there is a possible plan in the works for Bayley, and they didn't want Bayley out there at Damage Control because Damage Control was losing, and they didn't want Bayley to be seen as a quote-unquote loser as well. A whole different story. So, back to the Vince thing. So, according to Fightful, they're under the belief with people that they spoke to, higher-ups in the company, that this should be a Triple H ran show tonight. That everything should be going back to where we were. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully that's the case, because if we get another show like Raw, oof, we can't. We can't get another show like that Raw. That was bad. Like, we had a commercial-free first hour, and I swear to God, there was less than 2-3 minutes of actual wrestling in that first hour. So, yeah. And then whatever. Go watch the video I posted with me and Luke from our Raw review. We did not like the Seth segment. If we get another Seth segment like that, what the hell? Also, it has been debunked. The video going around of Seth speaking to somebody during the commercial is not them changing Seth's segment during the commercial. Seth knew what he was going to do going out there. He knew that going out there, he was going to just look around and then walk right out. That was the plan going into the show and into the segment. Things were not changed on the fly during that commercial break. But still, like I said, fire whoever wrote that segment, because that segment sucked balls. Like, geez, you're going to have him go out there, the fans, for however many minutes that commercial was, 3-4 minutes, and then him just go, go, walk off. Very weird. We don't need this character no more. We've had it for a year. Give us something better. Give us the old Seth Rollins back. Give us the architect. I'd rather have the goddamn Messiah than whatever this goofball wackadoodle guy is. Yeah. Anyways, so the belief is that Triple H will be in charge tonight. That is a Triple H ran show. And hopefully that's true. Hopefully that is the case. We'll see. I kind of got hope, because like I said on Monday's Raw, there's a good chance this is just Vince was in town, Vince hadn't flown out yet, and I want to run it. But as we move forward, speaking of stuff coming out of Monday Night Raw and coming out of WrestleMania, we got some news notes on a couple of different top-tier WWE superstars. First off, what happened at the end of WrestleMania as far as Cody Rhodes not completing the story and Roman Reigns winning the belt. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that Reigns defeating Rhodes, well, that was, quote, always the plan. Meltzer wrote, Reigns winning was always the plan, although it was kept secret and almost nobody knew. Reigns defeated Rhodes in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania 39 this past Sunday. So, there we go. This was always the plan. It wasn't like, oh, something happened over the weekend and they changed their mind and said, oh, no, never mind. We're taking the title off of Roman yet. No. The rumor is that they came up with the plan for the finish a week or two before Mania. And that's Roman. Roman winning. It was always Roman. Whenever it was finally decided on, it was Roman. Roman Reigns. So then we go into Raw, and Cody makes it look like he's going to get another match with Roman. He's going to challenge Roman for the title. He then does the tag match. He then gets Brock as his tag partner. Brock then beats his ass. Now, we don't know. We assume that Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes could be the Backlash main event. Could be the big selling match for Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico. But Dave Meltzer did state, quote, Roman Reigns will not be on the San Juan card, or at least that wasn't the plan on Monday. But he will be doing other major events over the next few months. So it does look like Roman Reigns is getting some time off, which was rumored that he was going to get time off after WrestleMania. So maybe he works nothing in April, no more April, half or not the first week of May, and then starts building whatever he's going to build towards King and Queen of the Ring, end of May in Saudi. We also do have in, I want to say June, Money in the Bank in London. So maybe they bring Roman in for the London show as well. But Roman, as of right now, is not working Backlash. That is the plan as of right now. But then he will do other major shows after that, which will be King and Queen of the Ring, most likely. And I just said it. Why can't I think of it all of a sudden? Money in the Bank in London. So this hasn't been told to me right out, but it has been hinted that Roman or Cody versus Brock could be one of the big matches for Backlash. Now, there is the possibility, I was told, that the Bad Bunny match actually main events and goes on last. Bad Bunny and Ray versus Dom and Priest is what it looks like it's going to be. And that could be the match that goes on last, just to suffice the local people. Now, coming out of WrestleMania, we had one wrestler make his debut, and about 45 seconds later, get injured. And that is Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon was injured at WrestleMania. He did like three things. He punched Miz. He whipped Miz. He did a, what do they call it? A drop down, a leapfrog, and then tore his quad. According to Mike Johnson over at PW Insider, he does state that that night, Sunday, Shane was actually flown to Birmingham, Alabama. So there we go. As soon as that ended, they were like, yeah, nope, you're hurt. You got a torn quad. We need to get you to Dr. Andrews. Now, this wasn't right out known, but with him being flown straight to Birmingham, it is likely that he underwent surgery either that night or the next morning. Could have underwent surgery maybe Tuesday or something, but basically they knew right away it was a quad and a torn quad. They knew he was going to need surgery, so they immediately sent him to Birmingham to have that surgery. We assume based off of this report from PW Insider that the surgery has already taken place. And if that's the case, that's torn quad in 8 months. Torn quad. Well, how long was Triple H when he had his last torn quad? This says some can come back 3 to 6 months, but who knows? And we don't even know if this was a one-off for Shane or not. We don't even know if Shane is going to come back after this. We don't know if maybe the Shane thing at Mania was just for Mania and that was it. Or if there's a plan for Shane to beat Miz and then go forward and be back on the roster. We don't know. So we'll play it by ear and we'll see what happens. Another person that worked WrestleMania is John Cena. And John Cena is actually executive producing a new docu-series for WWE. According to a new report from The Hollywood Reporter, they write the following. WWE is expanding to another platform. The sports entertainment company, which on April 3rd unveiled plans to merge with the Endeavor's UFC, is producing a new docu-series called WWE Recruits for the Roku channel, with WWE legend John Cena set to produce and appear in the 8-episode series. WWE Recruits will follow a group of men and women hoping to become WWE superstars. Other stars set to appear in the series also are Paul Triple H Levesque, who also leads WWE's creative, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and Bianca Belair. Filming is already underway, with some content produced at WrestleMania this past weekend. A. Smith and Co-Productions, who does Hell's Kitchen and American Ninja Warrior, is producing the series for the Roku channel. WWE got its own docuseries with WWE Recruits, which will follow the behind-the-scenes workings of different athletes going through and basically getting a tryout and a look at WWE. So basically, it's not a developmental show, but it is following different athletes that WWE are recruiting and bringing in for tryouts, and what the whole tryout process is from what it sounds like. The series is also an example of what the company hopes to do more in the future, even with the UFC. Endeavor COO Mark Shapiro stated, "We expect in this new combination to launch non-scripted shows, docs, and films, more fights, and more events, and a mess of social media content." So there we go. Basically, it's a show where they're going to follow different recruits in the process of being recruited and trying out for WWE. I don't know if any of these are going to, I assume a few at least. And this is just me going off now. I assume we see some people make it and we see a few don't make it. Because if it's all just, they all made it, who's going to care about that? But I want to see rejection. I want to see some rejection on this goddamn show as well. This should be fun. No word on when the show is supposed to debut. It doesn't say even a year, really. But it says the first set of content was filmed over WrestleMania weekend, where WWE did hold the tryout. Now, a couple of years ago, we saw WWE superstars all over Twitch. And then all of a sudden, the mandate came out. No third-party stuff. No Twitch. No OnlyFans. No sponsorships for this and that. And da-da-da-da-da. And everyone was like, what the hell? And we slowly started seeing like NXT wrestlers still do Twitch. We saw Adam Cole, while he was still in NXT, continue to do Twitch. Dakota Kai is on Twitch every so often. And, well, the main roster superstar just announced yesterday she is returning to Twitch. Pull this up on the screen right here. So hopefully this does lead to more WWE superstars jumping in and getting back to Twitch as well. But let's see if I can pull this up on the screen. I'm going to pause this video because the video is not really needed in this. But WWE superstars Lena Vega did tweet out the following. It's official. We are back. Where is my hashtag A to Z Twitch fam? I can't wait to be able to stream with you all again. Now, not only can you see me every Friday night on Smackdown, but a Twitch screen coming soon. So this is a good first step in saying, okay, Zelina's back on Twitch. Where's Woods? Where's old Austin Creed back on Twitch? Where's AJ Styles? Johnny Gargano, we've seen since coming back, do some Twitch streams, but not a lot. Where's Mia Yim? You know, where are all these wrestlers that were on Twitch before? They come back now. Again, Zelina says she's going back to Twitch, Thea Trinidad. So maybe this is the start of others transitioning back and getting their Twitch channels re-going as well. We know that her Twitch channel was never, I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? Shut down because her husband would sometimes jump on there. But yeah, very cool that Zelina is getting back on Twitch. Can't wait to see what kind of content she does produce. Now, someone that never streamed to Twitch and that has been gone for basically a year now is Big E. Big E suffered a broken neck last year on an episode of Smackdown, and he gave a little update, I guess you could say, on his non-wrestling role with WWE while speaking with Pop Culture, as Big E stated the following. Being able to go to these college campuses and talk to athletes and let them know about WWE and the opportunities here really resonates with me. Because I remember being 23 years old and, quote, a failed football player at Iowa, dealing with a bunch of injuries and then trying to figure out my entire life. I really love being involved in that way, and I'm sure there will be other ways as well that I can be involved while I'm not in the ring. That's really cool that basically Big E is being used to help recruit athletes to WWE, as he was recruited himself as a top-tier football player and wrestler in Iowa. So it sounds like Big E is, I mean, I can only assume that he wants to be back in the ring, of course, but I think as of last week, he had stated he hasn't gotten his one-year checkup yet. And that's when they're going to tell him how everything's going. But as far as everything does go, it's good to see that he's happy with what they have him doing now. And it's glad, I'm glad they have him doing stuff. I'm glad that he's not just sitting at home doing nothing, but that they're keeping him busy, keeping him in the fold, and letting him still be a part of WWE even while he's gone. So that's awesome, awesome, awesome to see. Give me 1 second. All right. We got two more news stories to hit on for WWE, that is. And one has to do with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair and his Hall of Fame speech. Well, his Hall of Fame induction speech for the Great Muta. Ric Flair inducted the legendary Japanese wrestler Great Muta into the WWE Hall of Fame last week, and it is stated that because of his speech, he left some WWE higher-ups, well, a little unhappy, as Dave Meltzer wrote the following in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. For the Hall of Fame, there was a teleprompter where the planned speeches were written, and pretty much everybody, except Ric Flair, read them. So, what was said was planned and approved. The thing is that Flair didn't read the teleprompter at all and just gave a speech having nothing to do with the script until like close to the very end when he got back on script. The stuff listing Riki Choshu, Tenryu, and Fujinami was actually the stuff that was in the script. Everything else he talked about, not in the script. So the joke for all those years of, yeah, they're afraid to give Rick a live mic because they don't know when and what he's going to say, you know, where he's going to go with this promo and what he's going to say and this and that. And this proved it. You don't know what Vince is or what Rick's going to do. You don't know what Rick's going to say. You don't know if Rick's going to stick to the plan or if Rick's going to go off script. And old buddy Rick went off script. Who's shocked? Who's shocked? Not this guy. Not this guy at all. And our final WWE news story, well, there's a little bit of a hiccup during WrestleMania that pissed off a lot of people. WWE has issued a statement after an image of the Auschwitz concentration camp was used in a video package for WrestleMania. In an article published by the Washington Post on Friday, it was noted that a WWE spokesperson apologized for the footage being shown and called it an error. The footage was shown in a Rey Mysterio vs. Dominic Mysterio video package that aired on Peacock during the pre-show for the first night of WrestleMania 39. It was said to display Prison Dom talking about having served hard time in the prison yard. The image was replaced by the time the video package aired on the main card for WrestleMania, though. A WWE statement quotes, "We had no knowledge of what was depicted. As soon as we learned, it was removed immediately." Now, all of this does come after the Auschwitz Memorial and Museum criticized WWE in a tweet on Wednesday, saying that it used the footage and it was shameless, as they stated. In fact, the Auschwitz image was used to promote a WWE match. Is hard to call a, quote, editing mistake, exploiting the site that became a symbol of erroneous human tragedy is shameless and insults the memory of all victims of Auschwitz, the tweet stated. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to stand up for WWE and say what they did was okay. No. But as a video editor myself, I can 100%, 1,000% see where this error comes from. And I'm going to show you guys an example kind of right here. So, when I am creating a video, like maybe a video package or something that just needs what is called stock footage that I get licensed, that I don't actually shoot myself, I go to various websites. One of those websites is called VectEasy. And what you do is you go to VectEasy and you say, what do you want? An image, a photo, a PNG, a vector, or a video. So you type in video, and what they probably typed in was prison. And looked and looked and looked. Maybe they even typed in prison yard. Nothing comes up on VectEasy for that. But maybe they typed in prison. And was like, all right, we need a prison video. It doesn't have to be long. Let's find something. We're looking. For some reason, it doesn't want to go to the next page. You know, they're looking. I don't think I'm going to find Auschwitz on this one. But and then they go, you know, oh, we like this one. So then you get it, you download it, you throw it in your video as a generic shot for a prison. Not knowing what prison that actually is. And actually, the one I did find was Auschwitz. Actually, it actually does say Auschwitz concentration camp. Didn't mean to do that on purpose, but regardless, It says what it is, but a lot of times it doesn't say what the footage is. It'll just give you the blanket, whatever you search for, prison yard, whatever, and then it'll say prison yard video X amount length. And so I can see, and I'm, again, not trying to say that this was a good thing. Not trying to say they didn't mess up, but I can see where the mistake could come from an editor. You just went on a stock footage site, searched prison or prison yard or prison cell or whatever, and grabbed the first one or the one that looked the best for the shot you needed. It happens. It was bad that it was Auschwitz, yeah. But it's also good that somebody caught it and they were able to fix it in time before it aired on the main card, the main show. So yep, they messed up, but I can see 100% where the error could come from. Because it's very easy for an error like that to be made when you're looking for stock footage. Very easy. Because sometimes you look for stock footage, like I said, now I know I'm rambling, but you look for stock footage, you find a shot you like, and you run with it. Because I'm going to tell you, 90% of the time, the stock footage is not listed as where the footage is from, as far as like, oh, that's a shot from a jail in Texas, or that's a shot from Auschwitz concentration camp. A lot of times it just says prison. And you go, oh, that one will work. So I can see where, and I get why the Auschwitz Memorial would be mad and saying, it's not just a mistake. That's not an editing mistake. It is. It is an editing error, depending on what site they got the stock footage from. It's not like they went in there and went, we're going to go and type in Auschwitz. No. I can almost guarantee they didn't do that. I can almost guarantee they went to a stock footage site and just typed in prison. But as we move forward, let me wipe my glasses off because I'm getting, it's not my glasses. I got hair in my eye. That's giving me, there we go. I got it out. Move forward. We got some AEW news to talk about. We got 2 AEW stories to wrap up this episode of the Wrap Up. This past week on AEW Dynamite, the show kicked off with Jay White. Yes, Switchblade Jay White, former IWGP Heavyweight Champion, is now part of All Elite Wrestling. He came out and kind of formed a version of Bullet Club in AEW with Juice Robinson, and then Tony Khan said, hey, Jay White is All Elite. Now, there were rumors that Jay White was going to go to WWE and the WWE was interested in Jay White, but we have learned some stuff about that, well, sounds like it was a fumble on WWE's end to not sign the old Switchblade, as a Fightful actually reported the following. Let's play. And it's just refreshed on me. What the hell? Here we go. Switchblade Jay White is All Elite, and it's official. White signed with All Elite Wrestling on what Fightful has confirmed to be a multi-year deal. Fightful was able to learn that the deal was in place ahead of WrestleMania 39, and WWE sources were aware that he would not be coming in. So everyone that said, oh, he was still scheduled for Raw, they thought they'd get him for Raw. No, that's not true. Basically, White's impending free agency first came to the radar when it was announced or known near Wrestle Kingdom that he was going to not re-sign with New Japan. The report states that Triple H and William Regal were both interested in signing Jay White. However, WWE higher-ups said that the company, quote, failed to communicate properly along the process, leading to White tending to, I guess you say, shift more towards AEW and ultimately signing with All Elite Wrestling. It was the communication breakdown that led to White no longer wanting to sign with WWE. WWE did have tentative creative plans for White, but again, the deal was not made. Again, because, well, WWE fumbled the ball communication-wise. So there we go. Jay White is with AEW. We don't know how long the deal is. Typically, AEW signs 3 or 5 year deals. A lot of the newer deals we've heard of are 3-year deals. And finally, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy recently actually underwent eye surgery. So it's unclear exactly when Jeff Hardy is going to return to All Elite Wrestling. We know that his legal stuff has been cleared up and whatnot. There's been a couple photos of him surfacing online recently, as far as him now, like, a lot of gray in his hair and stuff. And there was one where his eye looked all messed up, and the fan that got the photo with him was like, yeah, Jeff told me he just had eye surgery. Well, his brother Matt, on his The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, talked about Jeff's recent surgery, stating, quote, he just had some eye surgery, and he's recovering. Probably a few weeks out from being fully physically cleared, but hopefully sooner than later he'll be up for doing stuff physically again. He did sneak away with his family and go on a little vacation for a few days, which is nice. He's in a real good place in life. I think he's very happy where he's at, and it makes me very proud of him. And it also fills me with joy that he's happy with where he is at life. There we go. Jeff did have some eye surgery recently. Not sure why he needed the surgery, but Matt said he should be recovered in the next couple of weeks. So maybe he gets recovered and then returns to AEW. I mean, I'd like to see... right now at this point, it's probably going to be Matt and Isaiah versus Big Bill and Ethan, but I'd love to see Matt and Jeff against Big Bill and Ethan Page. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. But with that right there is going to wrap up the wrestling wrap up. Tonight is Friday Night Smackdown. A number of things, 6 things actually, have been announced for tonight's show. Let's pull that up on the screen just to double check if anything else was announced since we've gone live. Let's check their Twitter as well. Just double checking, making sure we didn't miss anything, because 6 things were announced before we went live. Well, maybe something else got announced while we were live. No, nothing new has been announced for tonight's SmackDown. But these things are what's being advertised. So let's pull those up on the screen right here. WWE is advertising that Triple H will be on the show to address the WWE Universe. Rey Mysterio will team with Santos Escobar to take on the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley comes to SmackDown as new SmackDown Women's Champion to claim her throne. We do know that the tag team champions, the new champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, will be on the show. As well as we scroll up here, we see it. Sami Zayn will be going one-on-one with Jey Uso. And finally, in 6-man tag team action, it's Imperium, the Intercontinental Champion Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci taking on the Brawling Brutes Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. So with that is everything that has so far been announced for tonight's SmackDown. We will be live right back here following tonight's SmackDown, breaking down that entire show. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll see you later, hopefully tonight for SmackDown. Have a good one, guys.